So for dinner tonight slash lunch, we're going to be doing ground beef and potatoes with rice on the side. I usually add a tortilla at the very end for my son because he'll just make his own burrito or taco or however he does it. I always start with my rice first because it does take the longest. It's going to take 20 minutes. So for my rice, I start off by putting some olive oil in a pan and letting that get hot. I then put in my 1 cup of rice. I'm going to let that toast for a little bit while I chop up my onion. For my onion, I have to do it 2 different ways. My son does not like onions. If he sees it in his food, he won't eat it. He'll pick it all out. So I try to make things easier for him. I make big chunks for the rice. That way, just throw them in there while it's simmering at the very end. It'll float to the top and you can just pick them off and he's good to go. So for the ground beef, I do it a little bit differently. I do add diced onion. He does not realize it because I throw potatoes and tomatoes in there. So once it's all mixed up and stirred up, he doesn't notice the onion at all and he eats it with no problem. He's never noticed it yet, so I hope he doesn't notice it for at least a few more years. So while I'm cutting my potato and my onion, I do have to make sure I'm keeping an eye on my rice because it will go from toasted to burnt very fast. So for my potatoes, I usually dice them up. I don't do them too thin, mainly because I do put them in there to cook with the ground beef, and if you do them like paper thin, they'll become mushy and gross and you don't want that. And then for my rice, it's real easy. I just add 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce and then I fill 2 cans up with water. And then I just throw in my chunks of onion. I do also add paprika, cumin, and garlic powder, but that's just a personal preference. You don't have to put that, but you do have to put the chicken bouillon in there. So once I have my rice cooking, I then will start my ground beef. I just throw it into the pan. I add my onions, potatoes, and tomatoes. I also use 2 packs of the taco seasoning from Aldi's. I like it a lot and it's pretty cheap and you can never go wrong there. In addition to the taco seasoning, I do add paprika, cumin, and black pepper. I will add that to every single dish. It's just a chokehold paprika and cumin have on me. Also, how you know when your potatoes are done, they just can dice in half with your spatula, and that's how you know everything's ready to go. My rice came out perfect. I just take out the big chunks and put them to the side so my son doesn't eat them because he's weird. As usual, my daughter will have some type of berry with her food. Tonight she's having strawberries because that's what we have in the house. Usually my son will have some berries, but tonight he didn't want any. He just wanted his tortilla, sour cream, and cheese. Anyways, that's it for tonight's dinner. I also tried to give him one of the Dr. Peppers that we had. This one's my flavor. He absolutely hates it, and I don't know why people hate on this flavor when it's so freaking good.